Put a little bit of the rub, nigga, I gotta be safe.
Let's get to sports talk.
Who is number one on the board of expected mock draft? Is he the best player, and will he be the number one pick next year?
I think he's the safest prospect. You got a guy who's 7'1", 7'5" wingspan, stud frame, 247 pounds, similar to Joel Embiid, actually physically at the same stage, and he's going to be the best finisher in college basketball this season. He can get up and down, he can switch ball screens, he can protect the rim, and he's a guy who can also step out and shoot the three a little bit, so he's very safe, has an extremely high floor. What do you think?
I like James Wiseman. I think he could be a very good NBA player. But I'm going to tell you, I think the two most intriguing prospects, we're looking at one, LaMelo Ball. I would have number one, Anthony Edwards, another intriguing prospect. He reminds me a little bit of Donovan Mitchell. But I saw this kid 2 years ago, Brandon. He was like 6'1", 6'2". He's 6'7" now.
So let's talk about him for a minute, because that's the name everybody sort of gravitates to. LaMelo Ball has been a celebrity in our culture for a really long time. Jay Williams is sort of raving about his game, but are there NBA teams that have significant questions?
Yes, he's the most polarizing prospect in the draft because if you just look at his game, like you break down his strengths, his weaknesses, I said it on SVP, he's the most talented prospect in the draft in terms of a complete natural, 6'7" point guard, incredible instincts, creative, more shifty than his brother Lonzo, defensive instincts as well. But some teams say, we don't want the headache that could come along with this. Like, what are you drafting? You're not just drafting LaMelo Ball. What comes along with this, and how are you going to go to your head coach? Right? I can sit up here and say, he's the most talented prospect in the draft, right? But I don't have to go to my head coach and say, hey, this is who we're handing the keys to.
They talking about his daddy. His daddy is his image. Why I'm saying that? Because that's why Lonzo had a target on his back when he was with LA. Because his daddy was just saying he was better than everyone, and he had to do so much when he was in LA. Now with the youngest, LaMelo, you don't know what his daddy gonna do once he get drafted. Is he gonna put the same target on his back? Or he gonna let his son develop himself in that league? Or he gonna do the same thing he did to Lonzo when he got drafted to LA? Is he gonna put the target on LaMelo Ball back? There's a lot that comes with him.
For the next 5, 6, 7 years, and that's what teams want to figure out.
I just want to make clear, you're talking about his dad, right? I mean, we talk about what the question marks are. That's what they're concerned about?
It's not just that. I think people look at what happened with Lonzo in LA, but it's also, okay, he skipped years of high school.
Right.
He hasn't been in a winning environment. He's, their team right now is 1-7. What are his habits like? What are his work habits like? Is this a guy who's going to maximize his potential long term? So talent-wise, complete stud. But there are some real question marks.
Question for you, is there any concern about the shot coming from under the chin? Because the shot comes, it's like a push shot from here. And often when you shoot, you see like your guide hand stays on the side of the ball, so it directs your shot. But when he shoots, like a regular shooter shoots like this, but when he shoots both his hands, it's like he uses his thumb in the shot.
He uses that left index finger and the left thumb to kind of push it. I mean, he's shooting 19% from three this year. That's not a great number, but over 80% from the free throw line.
That's a horrific number.
It's a horrific number. But over 80% from the free throw line. He has touch from floaters like out to three. Yeah. So I'm not as worried as I was with Lonzo in terms of his shooting. Again, like he's a big time talent, but he's, like I said, the most polarizing prospect in the draft.
This is something to watch all year long. The ping pong balls are going to fall. Who was the guy on the floor last night?
Nobody. We didn't see number 1, number 2, number 3.
Really? Who's number 1?
I would say right now it's trending towards potentially LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball. Or you have guys like James Wiseman who plays over at Memphis.
Yeah.
There's a couple people in this conversation. James Wiseman over at Memphis. This guy 7'1", has great inside-outside game. And then you got a guy named Anthony Edwards who plays for Georgia. He's like a 6'4" combo guard. People remind him of Donovan Mitchell. And then LaMelo Ball. When I saw LaMelo Ball a couple of years ago, he was 6'1". He's 6'7" now, Greeny. He's a 6'7" guard. Now, his shooting form is a little bit different, and people are questioning that. But LaMelo Ball is in the conversation for being the first pick in the NBA draft.
That is really interesting to me, and I'm guessing is to a lot of people. In a year where we don't have the
they gonna develop him. Because he's still young. He got a lot of time to develop. He could probably do what his brother do. Fix his jump shot for him. Like 19% for three-point line is not good. But they will select him probably at number 1. Because he's a 6'7" guard. They will help him develop. Whatever team drafted him, they're going to figure out a way to develop him to a nice player for their team. Because if he get drafted on 1, you know they building a franchise around him. Only he got the advantage because he playing with grown man already, and he knows it's going to be physical once he get to the league. More physical when he get to the NBA. But he got advantage over everyone because he already playing against grown men who play in the league. Some played over there for a long time, so he got advantage over everyone in college right now.
Of high-profile players in college basketball that we did last year, obviously, with Zion Williamson being at the top of that list and not the only one. LaMelo Ball is a name everybody knows. Let's say that again. He's 6'7" now. He sort of disappeared from view for quite some time.
Not really. I mean, a lot of his games are being streamed. So people are watching his games internet-wise, and they're getting high viewership. So when you got guys like him going overseas, you got guys like R.J. Hampton going overseas.
Yes.
The game is changing. No longer do players feel like they need to use the collegiate level as a platform to ascend to the NBA. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports, highlights, and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app.